Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the board meeting for to order to establish a quorum. This by the people, president of the board, appointed by the governor. Donna Gerber. BRN moderator, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I am. Can I remind the panel that you must unmute your microphone to speak, please?
Michael, this is Karen Skelton. You're cutting in and out from my point of view. I can hear you in and out.
Yeah, Michael, this is Donna. You were cutting out earlier.
This is Trandy. Nobody else is cutting out except for Michael that I'm hearing.
What's that?
Michael, you're the only person cutting in and out. The other people are clear.
What about now?
Speak some more.
This is Michael Jackson, president of the board. We're doing the roll call to establish a quorum.
Okay, that sounds good.
Beginning with myself, I already introduced myself. Next person would be Donna Gerber.
Hi, this is Donna Gerber. I am a public member appointed by the Speaker of the Assembly.
Elizabeth Wood.
Elizabeth Woods is present, and I've been appointed by the governor in the advanced practice role.
Trandy Phillips.
This is Trandy Phillips. I'm an RN appointed by the governor in the direct care provider role.
Imelda Seja-Buckowitz.
Good morning. This is Imelda Seja-Buckowitz, appointed by the governor as a public member.
Kenneth Marlborough.
Good morning. This is Ken Marlborough, public member appointed by the Senate Rules Committee.
Dolores Trujillo. Dolores Trujillo.
This is Dolores Trujillo, and I've been appointed by the governor in a RN appointed direct provider role.
And Karen Skelton.
Karen Skelton, appointed by the governor in a public role.
Thank you all board members very much. And our acting executive officer.
Hi, this is Loretta Melby. I'm the acting executive officer for the Board of Registered Nurse, appointed in February, and I am currently also a nursing education consultant.
Thank you very much. We'll be moving right along to our next item, item 2.0, which is general instructions for the format of the teleconference.
Good morning. This is the moderator of the meeting. To facilitate public comment, We will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the board reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on, and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. The moderator will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. At the conclusion of the 2 minutes, the individual's microphone will be muted, and we will move on to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for the members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. This is not a means to ask questions of the moderator or members of the board. Such inquiries submitted using this feature will not be answered. When asking your question, please make sure the question is directed at the host in the dropdown. Also, if any attendees utilize a profane name, they will not be called upon to prevent the members of the public from being subject to profane language. While you are free to express criticism or negative views, for the sake of the members of the public participating on the call, please do not use profane language when making public comments to the board. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when the board members or senior staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will interject with a brief friendly reminder. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those instructions. We're moving on to. Thank you very much for the instructions. We're going to move on to item 3.0, and the board will convene into closed session at this time. The board will convene in a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 111126, Subdivision A1, consider appointment of the permanent executive officer. Item 3.2, disciplinary action. Item 3.3, pending litigation, and item 3.4, Bureau of State Audits. So at this time, we'll convene into closed session. And moderator, you'll let us know when we're in closed session.
Sorry. We are in closed session. We will reconvene when notified. Thank you.
Michael, are you still there?
I'm still here, Betty. We're supposed to go into Microsoft Teams.
Okay, that's exactly what I was wondering. Thanks, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
We have to turn this off.
Yes.
Okay.
Board members, you may proceed to closed session. You can go ahead and disconnect from WebEx. Thank you.
Right now, there's a quorum of the board. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members present. Moving on to item 5.0, Regulation AB 2138, consideration of adopting of amendments to California Code of Regulations, Title 16, Section 1444 and 1445, substantial relationship criteria and criteria for rehabilitation and review and consideration for approval, responses and comments to receive regarding rulemaking package to amend CCR Title 16, Sections 1441, 1444, 1444.5, and 1445. We will turn it over to our presenter.
This is Reza. Can we have the moderator elevate Danny Rogers to a presenter if that's not already done?
1 second.
Thank you, Reza. This is Danny Rogers. Good afternoon. I am Regulations Counsel to the board, and I'm here to present item 5. Item 5 is consideration of adopting amendments to sections 1444 and 1445. And we are also asking for approval of the proposed responses to comments to the entirety of the package. The proposed modifications are in your board materials. The additions are shown in double underline, and the deletions are shown in double strike through. So these changes are proposed for clarity in the regulations and have been informed by discussions and suggestions by OAL on another rulemaking package. I am happy to answer any questions you may have about the amendments rather than go through them unless you'd like me to do that.
Are there any discussion from board members regarding these amendments?
I would like to hear a short review of them, please.
Certainly. One moment. Let me access the text real quick here. One moment. So the First Amendment is proposed to Section 1444, which is titled Substantial Relationship Criteria. And you'll see that we have added sections 2761 and 2765 to subdivision A. And the cited sections refer to grounds for denial and discipline listed in the Board's Practice Act for substantially related offenses. So these additions were proposed to be added here so that references to substantial relationship are addressed together in one regulation. So this is an amendment that is proposed for clarity. The next amendment is to section 1445, criteria for rehabilitation. So in general, there are amendments to add subtitles to or subheadings to the regulation to afford greater clarity in the subdivisions as to what they're discussing. So you'll see subdivision A, we've added a title for denial of a license or certificate. So it's clear to the reader that that section is addressing only those things. We are changing was to has been for clarity, so it's clear to the reader that what is meant is up until the time of the consideration instead of at one point in time. This would be suggested by was. We move down to subdivision A2. OAL viewed the existing language to not necessarily be clear as to all of the circumstances that were encompassed by this subdivision, so we spelled them out. So we spelled out the circumstances under which someone, an applicant, namely, would fall within this subdivision, specifying that the denial could be based on professional misconduct, it could be based on the grounds that are specified in the Practice Act, et cetera. they viewed the stricken text highlighted to be unclear and specifying the circumstances when the regulation would apply, so that addition was suggested. You'll also see that there are additions of professional misconduct to subdivisions A2, Big A, and Big B. And those are because we have now added professional misconduct to subdivision A2. We have also deleted in subdivision A2, Big B, the language under section 480 of the code. Due to the addition of the Practice Act references in paragraph A2, OAL considered this to be a necessary conforming change to account for the additional grounds for denial apart for section 480. And you'll see in the rest of the regulation, we've also added titles for suspension and revocation of a license or certificate to afford greater clarity to the reader. And again, you'll see in B2 that we have also spelled out the circumstances under which that subdivision would apply for clarity. And we have added disciplinary action to subdivision B2, Big A, Big C, Big A and Big C. The same rationale for adding professional misconduct applies here because we have broadened the regulation in B2. And that sums it up. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Danny, thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions from board members?
This is Donna. Hi, Danny. It might be helpful for other board members if you could just describe what happens to this once the board acts on it today.
Certainly, happy to. So after the board, assuming the board approves all of the suggested modifications, some of which are substantial and some of which are non-substantial, we would afford 15 days of additional notice to the public to offer further comments on the modifications. They would have a chance to submit further written comments as they have already done in the 45-day period. If further comments were submitted, we would prepare responses to those, and those responses would come before you again. And then once we have all of the comments processed, if any, we would prepare a final version of the package for submission to the director, and then to agency, and then finally to OAL.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is Donna. Mr. Chairman, I would move that the board approve the modifications as indicated.
I second it. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Not hearing any questions or comments from the board. Are there any public comments related to item 5.0?
Okay, we'll be opening up for public comment. I will be activating the Q&A feature. We have a screen share right now that we are doing for the members of the public to see how they should submit their questions. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." I'll pause for a moment for the public to do that. Board President Jackson, it appears nobody would like to make a comment.
Thank you very much, BRN moderator.
I am turning off the Q&A if that is all if we're finished here.
Thank you very much. The last two items on the agenda, they are item 6.0 on the agenda and item 7.0. I will reorder the agenda and they will be located under item 4.0 for tomorrow.
I don't think we voted on that regulation yet.
Oh, sorry about that.
Thank you.
So there was no public comment. I call for the vote. Michael Jackson votes yes.
Donna
Woods, yes.
Hey, they skipped the comment responses. They skipped the comment responses. No, I don't think so. Oh, okay.
No, we had no comments.
No, I mean the comment responses to the regulation. We didn't go through those.
Nobody had any.
Member Woods, your vote.
Sorry.
Can
this
you
is
elevate me
Reza.
to panel?
I'm not sure who we're hearing on the background there regarding comment responses. I'm not sure if whoever it is could clarify. I think the reference is possibly that the motion that was made was to approve the changes to the regulatory text, but didn't include the proposed responses to comments that have been made thus far. Do we still have Danny on the line?
We do. Thanks, Reza. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure if I was muted as a panelist or an attendee. Sorry about that. No, we did not go through the proposed responses to comments to the one comment we received. So I just wanted to make sure that the record was clear that we had review of those proposed comment responses and a motion to approve those as well.
Okay.
So this is Reza.
Do we need to reread the motion?
Yeah, so let me clarify. This is Reza. I think, and Danny, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what Danny needs is approval of the changes to both the regulatory text and the proposed responses to the comments. I believe Danny went through individually and described the changes to the regulatory text, but didn't go through the comment responses. However, if board members have had a chance to review those proposed responses and are comfortable with voting to approve those, we can have the motion be amended and approve both. Or if board members want to hear more about the comments or speak more about them, that's fine too.
That's correct, Reza. Thank you.
Thanks.
Donna,
So if
Donna, do you want to amend your motion?
Yes, I will amend the motion, and I'm actually now able to look at the language in item 5.0 easier, so I'll try to do a more coherent motion. I will move that the board adopt the amendments as indicated to California Code of Regulations, Title 16, Sections 1444 and 1445. And that the board also approve the responses to comments regarding the rulemaking package.
I'll second that motion. Now, are there any public comments once again?
I've opened up the option for Q&A, public comments. Board President, there are no public comments.
Thank you, BRN moderator. Now I call for the vote. Michael Jackson votes yes. Donna Gerber,
Donna, yes.
Wood,
Woods, yes.
Phillips,
Phillips, yes.
Seha Bukowitz,
Yes.
Marlboro,
Marlboro, yes.
Skelton,
Skelton, yes.
Trujillo.
Trujillo, yes.
Thank you. That's it concludes item 5.0.
Thank you.
Moving back over to the agenda for items 6.0 and 7.0. As I said before, we're going to reorder the agenda. These will be located under tomorrow's agenda under item 4.0. We'll be moving along to item 8.0. And that's public comment for items not on the agenda, items for future agenda.
Board President, I have opened up comments.
Thank you.
Somebody does. Who has a comment? Jen, who has a comment? Board President, we have one public member who would like to make a comment. Public member.
Please go ahead.
Public member, LaShonda Shannon, I am going to promote you in a minute. Please remember, you have 2 minutes. I will start the timer as soon as I promote you.
Hi, my name is LaShonda Shannon, and I'm an analyst at the board. And I would just like to report that after reporting improper governmental activity at the April 2020 board meeting, I was retaliated against by Joseph Pacheco, a staff service manager too, who told me that because I spoke up, I had to use personal vacation time to account for the time I spent at the meeting. Subsequently thereafter, acting executive officer Loretta Melby sent a newsletter to the entire board, including management, publicly criticizing my work and the work of another staff person in the citation program, which has never been done before. And I say all this today, hoping that one of the board members will intervene, because not only is this unethical and immoral, it's also a violation of the California Whistleblower Protection Act. And I would also like to say, regardless of the tactics that are trying to be employed to intimidate and silence me, I will not be intimidated or silenced. I will continue to speak up and advocate for registered nurses, nursing students, and the healthcare consumers of this state. And I do all this because I believe that God has put me in this position working at this board for this very reason. And with God for me, who could possibly be against me? Thank you.
Sorry, can you state your name again, please?
Yes, my name is LaShonda Shannon. It's spelled LaShonda. Last name Shannon, Shannon. And if any of the board members would like evidence to substantiate what I've relayed here today, I can send that to you via email.
Thank you, LaShonda Shannon.
BRN moderator, are there any more public comments?
Board President, no, there is not. I was giving it a few to see if anything else happened. Everything is clear right now.
Seeing no other public comments, we'll move along to item 9.0. We'll recess until tomorrow, May 28, 2020 at 0800. Are there any other comments from the board members? Or moderator, can we disconnect now?
If
Thank
we're all
you.
still here, is it too late to get a comment in? This is Reza.
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, thanks. Just wanted to clear up one item for the record. There may have been a mention earlier of an item being discussed in closed session regarding the Bureau of State Audits report. And so I just wanted to clarify that report was not discussed in closed session today due to the report not being provided to the board in time to discuss it today. So that's intended to be brought up in a subsequent board meeting that will be noticed.
That's correct. We didn't discuss item 3.4 in the closed session today, and that was mentioned to the board members too.
Board members, do we have any more comments?
This is Dolores. I do not have a comment.
Okay, Board President, we will recess for today and reconvene tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, board members and staff.
Thank you.